I'm Ione Butler, and I'm the founder of Uplifting Content. And I'm also exploring today and trying to figure out which is the best way of doing things because I like to do these Facebook Lives. I started doing them a little while back, actually, and it was before Facebook made some changes. And we get lots of people on the lives, and it was a fantastic conversation with you guys about what was going on. We'd be able to share and talk, and I would have conversations with you guys in the comments, and that was really good. But it doesn't really work like that anymore. And I also use the audio from this for the podcast. So I would love to get your thoughts and comments on whether it works as a double whammy Facebook live recording also to be used on a podcast, or if it should just be a Facebook live and that's it, or or I should just record the podcast separately. I've been going around and around in my head about it, and I'm not sure. So I would love to get your thoughts on if this works. Hi, Nina. Lovely to see you. Because again, I wanted to do them to connect with you all. So I hope that we can still continue to do that. So today I want to see how you are. I would love to hear from you guys, have a little check-in. I also wanted to fill you in. I went to a music festival over the weekend called Coachella, which is in California. And it was such a fantastic experience. And I had I had really crazy highs and lows with it. Did anybody go? I would love to hear from people who went. If so, what was your highlight? Who did you see? And so for me, it was, and I think with any experience that I have, my highs are always the company that I'm with. And actually, I'm getting emotional talking about it right now. I go to a festival called Burning Man, which is a festival in Nevada. You could call it a festival, but it's not really a festival. You build a city and live in the desert for a week. So it's unlike anything else. But when I first started going to Burning Man, I would when I came home and talk about it, I would get emotional. I just cry when I talked about it. And the reason that I would cry is because the people that are there, I'm getting emotional and feeling like I'm going to cry now. The people that are there are so loving, and it becomes like this beautiful family. And it's the connection I have with people that really touches me. And so again, that is, I think, my highlight for Coachella. It was being with my best friend, being with some friends that had visited, were visiting from England, and just building friendships and getting to meet really wonderful humans and just having fun and playing. What I loved about the music at Coachella is a lot of it, the things that I really enjoyed was the old school Eminem and Dr. Dre and 50 Cent stuff that played. I didn't like any of his new stuff, but the stuff that kind of took me back to being 16, and the Destiny's Child. I wasn't even a massive fan. I'm not a massive fan of Beyonce. I think she's very talented. I know, scandalous. I shouldn't be saying these types of things. But what I really enjoyed of her performance was when Destiny's Child kind of came out and did their thing for a little bit. And so that was really nice. So for me, I think the highlights are just being in the company of really wonderful people and laughing and dancing and playing and being silly and getting to know new people and going out and being friendly and that type of stuff. So for me, that was definitely a highlight. So I put this to you guys because I'm going to go into the things that were not so much fun, which kind of links to what I'm saying. But I put this to you to just kind of go out and seek experiences, or bring together groups of friends, make the effort to bring together groups of friends that you gel with, even if it's people you don't know very well. And sometimes this is going to work fantastically. Sometimes there will be just a beautiful group of people that just gel and you'll have an amazing time. And sometimes it might be a bit awkward and won't be fun. And some people might be an idiot, and that's totally fine too. But just be open to doing that. Make the effort to get people together and see what can come of it. Before I go into my lows of Coachella, I just want to see who's on the call. So hi, Bryce. Hey, Bryce and Josh and Nina. Joshua likes my hair. I got my braids done for Coachella. Louise says, I enjoy the various live discussion that you're offering. Thank you so much, Louise. I'll keep doing it then. How are things with you? Would love to hear what's going on in your world. And thank you for also commenting. Seth says, hello. How do all you beautiful people do? Well, I can say that I'm doing very, very well. Thank you. And I'd love to hear from all the other beautiful people out there. So some of the lows of the weekend, for anyone that hasn't been or is thinking of going or wants to go, it is a lot of fun, but it's also incredibly exhausting, very expensive, and I think that's just about it. Exhausting and very expensive. There's different ways that you can do Coachella. One of them is just by simply, just getting a regular ticket. Camping is probably the best thing because it's like $100 for a campsite. You can bring all your food and you can do it that way. That keeps costs down. But if you want to be more comfortable being in a hotel, if you don't want to bring all your food there, you need to buy food. Things add up very quickly. There is so much walking around, which is great actually because it's fantastic exercise. But I felt awful on Monday when I got back. I was very, very drained and exhausted. So I think those would be the lows of it. I also stopped off in Palm Springs on the way back from Coachella, and I learned to hang out in a hotel. So guys, I don't know if you know this, and I want to put this to everyone because it's a fantastic thing. There are hotels all over California. I haven't really done this in other parts of America and all over the world yet, but there are hotels that allow you to come in and just use their pool if you eat and drink. That's a thing that some really nice hotels do. So you don't have to pay $200, $500 to stay in a swanky hotel. You just walk in and go and sit by the pool and have like a margarita or some food. So that's just my little handy tip for everyone. I urge you to all go and try it because it's a lot of fun. So we went to Palm Springs to do just that on the way back from Coachella, just to sit by a pool and lounge around and eat and just decompress. And I learned from one of the guys that worked there that actually what they do is have a Nochella, which is the week before Coachella. All the hotels in Palm Springs, which is the area near where it is, have this huge festival themselves where all the hotels get acts and they have pool parties and it's all completely free. So for anybody that doesn't like crowds, that doesn't like spending a lot of money, but also wants to have an amazing sort of festival party experience for free, look into Nochella, which is the week before Coachella. So I just wanted to fill you all in on that. Now, how are you doing? It says, why do I feel low and unenthusiastic sometimes, even though I keep my day productive with no stress and easy? But at some point, these feelings come and ruin me for some time. Thank you for asking that very fantastic question, because that is exactly what I was about to lead on to. I had a really wonderful experience this weekend, and I came home, and what normally happens after these things is from having an amazing high, I end up just really crashing and feeling depressed, stressed out. And that's because I've gone from, feeling on top of the world to coming back down to reality, normally having to catch up on a lot of work, and that stresses me out. And Kunal, this actually happened this time. It happened to me this week. What were we, Thursday? I got back on Tuesday. And the thing what's happening is I'm interested to find out, you keep your day productive with no stress and easy. So what is it? What is it that's making you feel low and unenthusiastic sometimes? Because what we need to get to is that deeper stuff, that the deeper things, the thoughts and the beliefs way underneath that are causing you to feel unenthusiastic and low. For example, my stuff all comes down to self-doubt, feeling that I'm not worthy. And you've got kind of levels of consciousness. There's the really deep subconscious sort of beliefs that we have that we're not always aware of. And then there are the thoughts that you're thinking about on a day-to-day. So it seems like if you're saying that your day is productive and you have no stress, I'm curious to know, what is the thing? What is it? What triggers the feeling low? What is going on with you in there? And what is the unenthusiastic? For example, my unenthusiastic and my low comes from a deep-seated belief that I'm still working on, working through, which is, not being good enough. It comes down to wanting to get on a Facebook Live and do a Facebook Live, but then feeling overwhelmed that there's too many ways that I have to market it. So now I have to go and do 20 different posts on 20 different things. Now we're not getting as many people doing the Facebook Lives as before. So should I be doing before? Do I have anything really to say? Does anyone care what I should all of these thoughts start to arise, and that's what makes me feel stressed not want to do it, unenthusiastic, and want to kind of put it off. The deep, deep, deep belief is that you're not good enough. Who are you to say anything to anybody? Stop trying to do anything. That is the underlying limiting belief that I have, that I'm still working on. So I'm curious to know with you, what is going on within you that is triggering these feelings of being low. When I got back from Coachella, I felt very low. I'd had an amazing weekend. And then it was being incredibly stressed out about having to deal with this mammoth task of all the work that I've got going on. I can't do it. Worrying about keeping on top of things. Every time somebody I had suggested something else to do, and I had a couple of calls, which meant that I had more work to do. The idea of all of that more work was causing me real stress, which made me not want to do anything. So I'd really love to know, in your situation, Kunal, you're saying, why do I feel low and unenthusiastic? These feelings come up and ruin me for some time. You need to really start observing what it is that's going on with you. So yesterday, when I was having these moments of ups and downs, I had to just keep stopping. Every time I went into this, every time these thoughts started to tumble over into stress and worry, and I'm not going to get that done, and how am I going to get that back to them, and I can't handle this, and there's all these things, I had to you just stop and just stop with those thoughts, change those thoughts, get everything written down. For me, the worry and the anxiety is about getting everything written down, because a lot of the time we have these epic to-do lists and all these things, and a lot of the time they're not even necessary. So I'm going to read you, I was reading a book this morning called Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. I've talked about it before. I've been trying to read it for like 6 months and I haven't, but I'm back to it and I'm getting through it. But he said something that was really, really fantastic. Well, Tim Ferriss had said something that was really, really fantastic that's kind of related to what we're talking to. And I just want to read it to you. So Russell Brunson, the author of this book, was at an event, and somebody asked Tim Ferriss, who, is an author, a speaker, he does a ton of stuff. They asked him, how do you, what is a normal day to you? So I'm going to read you from it. And so Tim paused for a moment, then gave an awkward half smile and said, if you watched my daily routine, you'd be bored out of your mind. Most people wake up every morning with a task of 1,000 things to do. They go through the day trying to knock down all these things. I wake up every morning and I meditate. I drink a tea or coffee. I go for a walk, and maybe I read a book. He said he might spend 3 or 4 weeks doing that and nothing else. My whole goal is to slow down and look around. Instead of looking for all the tasks that I could do, I try to identify the one big domino, the one thing that if I could knock that down, all the other dominoes would either fall down or become irrelevant. And that was such an amazing thing for me to read this morning, because it's exactly where I was at. I did a video last week where I talked about eating that frog, which is about taking the most important thing that you need to be doing and tackling that first, rather than going and doing the washing up, rather than doing the vacuuming, rather than making a call to your friends, rather than going on Facebook and replying to texts. Stop with all this unnecessary fluff and tackle the task at hand. And again, that point from Tim Ferriss really solidified that how important it is to do that. We need to really slow down. I am overwhelmed by 101 different things to do. And pretty much most of the time, none of them are important. What is important is to identify the key thing, the one thing that by doing that, everything else is pretty much taken care of. And so Kunal, I'm super curious to learn more about your situation and where you're at, because it says that your day is productive with no stress and easy, which is cool. So I'm curious to know what are the thoughts that are triggering these low moods and feelings. Oh gosh, I'm all over the place actually with my thoughts today. Another book that I wanted to mention that I've mentioned before and I've brought up is Ask and It Is Given, which I need to read again. I just love it. Absolutely love it. In it, they talk about how your feelings are triggered by your feelings are a signal of the thoughts that you're thinking. So when you are having thoughts that are in alignment with who you are, you feel good. When you are having thoughts that are not in alignment with who you are, that's when you experience negative feelings. So, Kanal, really start to observe the thoughts that you're having that are triggering your feelings. For instance, I was getting very super stressed and worked out, then worked up, and then I observed that that was what was happening, wrote down the list of all the things that I wanted to do so that that no longer was taking up my mental energy and causing me stress. Changed it every time that I was having those feelings of you're not good enough, nobody cares. I would change those thoughts to something else, get rid of them. I interviewed Gabrielle Bernstein recently, and that was one of her advice too. When you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling low, observe the thoughts and choose a better thought, is what she said. What are the thoughts that you're thinking? Choose a better thought and instantly see how that affects your feelings. I apologize because now I'm talking about the two different books. There was the thing from Expert Secrets, but it all kind of ties into one. We've got Loz and Roberta. Hi, you lovely people on the call. Roberta says, love your hair. Thank you. That was my braids that I had from my Coachella hair. Corey's on the call. Corey, my love, how are you? How are you doing? How's things? How's life? Loz says, I care and I love your lives. I don't always catch them live, unfortunately, but I try and watch them after. Loz, you ledge, I've missed you. How are you? Where have you been? I haven't spoken to you for a while. I want to get you on a group WhatsApp chat that we have, so I will make sure that happens afterwards. Roberta says, believe in yourself. It is definitely is so important, belief in yourself, but it's changing those beliefs. It takes work to change beliefs that you've had for a really long period of time into something else. And so for me, the thing that I find is looking at whatever the beliefs are, it's really questioning yourself whether or not that is true, identifying where these beliefs stemmed from. Where did that happen, and going back and kind of unraveling that, and then giving yourself the new beliefs based on evidence that that supports the opposite. So rather than being I'm not worthy, figuring out where that came from, why you kind of identified with that belief, and then replacing it with I am worthy, and finding all the evidence that proves that for you, replacing that belief. Because it's a great point, Roberta. Believe in yourself. Roberta says, the people that show up to your lives are those ones who are meant to be there. Don't worry about people that don't show up. Thank you, darling. Thank you. That means a lot. Kanal says, I don't know. I cannot finish things that I have planned. I want to go travel and something comes and disturbs the plan. Maybe I feel like the time is just too slow, and I don't know if all the things I am working on and sacrificing are going to be worth it or not. Sure, medication helps me, but I cannot neglect the reality. I'm going to read that again. I don't know, I cannot finish things that I have planned. I want to go and travel and something comes and disturbs the plan. What it sounds like to me, Kanal, is that you're not finishing the things you've planned because of a limiting belief behind that. Again, for another example, because I can only speak from my experience, making videos. I went to a fantastic event with Chris Voss, who I love Chris Voss. I interviewed him recently, last year, sorry. He's an author. He's a former FBI hostage negotiator, and he has a book about negotiating, building rapport, relationships with people. I love him. I love the book. I went to an event. I said, can I go? I want to make a video of it. Made a video of it. Didn't like what I've done, felt really bad about it, and have not been feeling good. And so I've just shelved it for about 3 or 4 weeks. And the reason behind that is because I don't think that what I've done is good enough. There's the feeling of unworthiness. So I'm keeping it there. So I'm aware that I'm doing that. I'm aware that there's things that I want to be doing that I'm deliberately sacrificing and I'm deliberately avoiding doing because of my own fears and doubts and limiting beliefs. My way of moving through that is I'm going to send the video to Chris today and say, this is what I've made. I made it a few weeks ago, but I didn't know how, I wasn't 100% sure about it. I would love to get your thoughts because he might love it. And then I can put the video out and I'll just put it out and share it and promote it and see what happens. So you're saying you can't finish the things that you've planned. Why can't you finish the things that you've planned? What is the common thought or feeling or experience that you're having that's stopping you following through on that stuff? Do you see what I mean? It's about getting really specific. I want to put videos out. I'm not putting videos out. I'm kind of making them and I'm very hesitant. When you have resistance within yourself and with what's going on with you, really start to look inside and listen, right? Just listen as an observer. What is this resistance coming up for? Why don't I want to put it out? Because I'm scared what people will think. Why do I not want to share this stuff on my Facebook page? Because I don't want people on my Facebook page to think that it's rubbish and to judge me. Those are the limiting beliefs that I'm having that's holding me back from doing stuff. Because this is what the problem is, guys. We want to be perfect and fantastic at everything. We want to make something and for everyone to love it and for it to be a huge success and for us, everything to go viral. Like, that's kind of what we want. However, that doesn't happen without failing sometimes. We're not going to get to these huge levels of success without trying it, without promoting it, without learning, without growing. And so these limiting beliefs that we have stop us from becoming and growing and developing into the people that we want to become. So it's really important to figure out what that is. And so, Kunal, again, what is it? You say, I want to go traveling and something comes up and disturbs my plan. Then you fix it and make a new plan. But what is the reason for you not booking a ticket and going somewhere? What does that come down to? Again, with travel, people have these limiting beliefs about travel that I get really upset about and talk about a lot. People seem to think that you have to be millionaires to travel. That is not true. I traveled for a lot of last year. I didn't spend a huge amount of money, and I met a lot of people who were traveling constantly who had no money. And the reason that they could afford to do it is because they found creative ways to supplement their travel. Whether that was being on an incredibly tight budget and spending no money, whether that was volunteering at a hostel so that they had free accommodation and food, like whether it was going out and getting a job, like there were many ways that we can do it. So again, it's coming back to the observation canal. Just spend some time with you when these things come up. When you start to get really stressed out or worked out up, start to either listen, but listen to it from an observation point, not an, oh my God, this is really stressful. I don't know why I'm feeling so bad. Step outside for a second and listen to the thoughts that you're thinking. That will really help. If that doesn't work, write down the concerns and the worries and the stresses that you have. Because what we want to do is get to the bottom of what's going on with you. Rather than this is what happens, we're trying to identify like why this keeps happening. Roberta says, go within yourself through meditation and self-reflecting, and you will find yourself. Once you define who you are, you will be sure of yourself. That is fantastic, Roberta. Thank you for sharing that. I am doing a Facebook Live with a woman. I'm trying to figure out which day that is going to be. I believe it's with Kitty Waters. Is that when we're doing it? Roberta, yes, Roberta, there's a talk on an interview on the 22nd of May I'm doing with Kitty Waters. And that is about, she calls it doing your Dharma, which is basically how to live your authentic and best life possible by identifying who you really are and what you really want. So Kunal, I really recommend that you jump on that Facebook Live with us on the 22nd of May. I'll put the invitation to it in this group chat. Guys, I don't know if you realize, but all of the Facebook Lives that I do, we have them as an event. So we have them as an event so that you can go and you can see who's on and you can set a reminder and be reminded, because it's hard to keep track of these things. But I strongly recommend the one for you, Kunal, with Kitty on the 22nd of May. I'll attach the invite to this conversation when I remember to do it. I'll put it in the show notes at the end. So there's that. Joshua, you wonderful man, how are you? Joshua says, I love that reading, so close to what I'm doing right now, The Large Rocks in Life. Yes, he's talking about the passage that I read from Expert Secrets from Tim Ferriss, which is about, rather than doing 100 things on your to-do list, do the most important things. I think somebody left an angry comment, angry face emoji reaction, so I'm curious to know what that is if you did. Roberta says, Gabby is amazing. Yes, Gabby Bernstein, who I interviewed a few months back, is an absolute legend. Kunal says, thank you so much. I just need to practice prioritization. One thing at a time, maybe. I'm doing too much at one time. Kanal, I am there with you. I 100% get you. It is overwhelming and it's stressful. What it makes me do is completely shut down and not want to do anything. Let me see if I can get this. Actually, I'm gonna do notes. So what I'm gonna add to the show notes is the invite to Kitty's Facebook Live. I'm also gonna attach my chat with Gabby Bernstein. And then the video that I just did about Eat That Frog from a book, which is about how to deal with procrastination, how to deal with getting things done and being more organized. So yeah, Kanal, it sounds like you've got a lot going on. Take it down. You're not a machine. You are definitely not a machine. If one is chasing two rabbits, ends up getting none. Yeah, that's a really great point. Great point. Thank you so much. That motivates me to reset, improve, and repair certain loopholes in my strategy. Thank you so much, Kanal. I'm glad that really helped. The way to stay updated with uplifting content is we would get a lot of people that would join the Facebook Lives that were new. Back in the day, and people would get notified. That doesn't happen anymore. So if you do want to get notified, I do these on Tuesdays and Thursdays, not always, but most of the time, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. But to make sure that you're notified, if you go to the top of uplifting content, you hit following and then see first, you'll be notified. And also the other way is to sign up to my weekly newsletter, which is in the show notes as well, which is in the post description here. And I send an email, once a week. I've been signing up to lots of newsletters, guys. And I don't know about you, but I hate it when I'm getting 5 newsletters a week from people. I will never do that to you unless it's like a week-long program that we're doing. And every day I told you that I'd send you an email. You'll never do that. I send an email maybe 2, maximum 3 times a month to people when there's something to say, or if we've got giveaways, or if I want to share something with you. It's not a bombardment. So yes, thank you all of you who are on here and having this conversation. And just to stay in the loop, do the following and then see first of the Facebook page, and then sign up to the chat to stay connected. Loz says, get it off the shelf and put it out there. Thank you. Good. Thank you, Loz. I know I will. She's talking about the video that I made for Chris Voss that I've been reluctant to post. Roberta says, progress, not perfection. That is a fantastic point, Roberta. I totally agree. What I love is I had this conversation with a friend recently, which, we do that. We, in the pursuit of perfection, we never do anything. And it kills progress. So rather than trying to be perfect, put your stuff out there, learn from it, grow from it. Failure is learning. Failure is the learning lessons that help you grow. It's like Roberta is me just writing down the things that I'm already thinking. You are incredible. Bryce says, spectacular things are all around us, but so many people miss them while attempting to search for happiness. Thanks for reminding me of the English verbiage rubbish. Yeah, it's an English ism that we say when something's rubbish. So yeah, I went to see a movie last week. It was rubbish, meaning it wasn't very good. There's lots of things that I say there. Kanal says, sure, I will. So yes, please do sign up. And we've got Ben on the call. But yeah. Excellent. Cool. Well, guys, that was my chat for this week. I think that was everything that I wanted to cover. I'll be back next week with some fantastic interviews. I am speaking on Tuesday to Dr. Robert Puff, who I am a massive fan of. He has this podcast called the Enlightenment Podcast and the Happiness Podcast, and I absolutely love both of them. He, to me, has been somebody that has really helped me get through times where I felt very depressed with what he's not only is he very spiritual, he's also a therapist or a psychologist, I believe. And so he works with people like marriage counseling and things like that, and depression and all sorts of stuff. And what I love about him is it's psychotherapy. I might be using the wrong term, but from a spiritual place. He's absolutely phenomenal. So I'm really excited to talk to him on Tuesday at 10 a.m. So join us. Yes, for anyone that doesn't know, links to all of the interviews with the Facebook Lives, we've got like an events section on the Facebook page. So to find out who's coming up, just go on there, be reminded, and then when it happens, you'll be reminded. I think you'll be reminded when it comes up. Yeah, because it'll come up as an event on your thing. Anyway, that was it from me today, guys. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Two pleasures. I will continue doing these, even if I'm talking to one person. It's what I love is having that connection and it being about you. For anybody that's listening on the podcast, thank you so much. Subscribe, leave us a review. And if you're free one day, come and join me for a conversation on the Uplifting Content Facebook page while we're doing a Facebook Live, and have a chat, because it'll be great to communicate with you. That's it for me for now. I will see you soon. Bye.